It's been a while, but I am back for another longer review video. The last one, I believe, was the Floyd Mulvihill 2-pack. Today, I'll be unboxing the 2023 Fabulous Hudson Hornet, Lee Revkins, and Leroy Heming. I found these all at Walmart a couple days ago from 2023 KC. Now, we'll get into them. And while I'm unboxing these, I'll just be talking a little bit until we get to the actual diecast. First up, we have Leroy Heming. And while I'm unboxing this, I'd like to shout out Kobe95 as well as Cars Diecast Reveals for guessing the second place and first place of my favorite Piston Cup racers, being Todd Marcus and Speedy Comet. Now we have Leroy out. On the top, we can see his number 300 as well as his name printed twice. We can see 355 HP standing for horsepower. Flipping to the back, his license plate says Leroy, and it has his top speed of 130 miles per hour. There's another logo that says World's Fastest Stock Sedan, meaning that this was a production car, a stock model, which is where the term for stock cars comes from. He has a Chrysler logo on the front, right above that very detailed grille. His front and rear bumpers are both separately attached pieces. You can see where they were glued on the front and back respectively. It's quite an upgrade from some of the more modern cars where they're just a single molded shape put onto the chassis. Speaking of the chassis, his wheels look pretty basic. When you compare it to the artwork here, you can see that's not far off, as the only thing they're really missing is the lug nuts. You can see his number 300 on the side, his hometown of Orlando, some more logos and slogans there. And you can see that sponsor revolting like Davey Apex, who I just dropped on the table, meaning this was the older version of the revolting sponsor, and there were likely a couple more cars between Leroy and Davey. His windows also appear to be separate pieces, as this one sort of sticks out a little bit. The windows also do feature some nice painted window bars and some trim around them in silver, which extends to his eyes as well. His eyes do appear to be a separately fitted piece with a specific edge around them, unlike some of the other cars where theirs just seem molded into their face. It took me a while to see it, but he does have a mouth right there, whereas you put him far away, you can't really see that he has one, which might be a downgrade from these guys where their mouths are very prominent on their faces. Just other questionable bits are the front and rear lights, looking kind of weird. I know they're printed on, but if you take cars like McQueen here, where they're such in good detail on the front and back, and this was 2006, I believe, they could definitely do better in 2023. And don't get me wrong, I just listed a bunch of gripes. There are also a bunch of positives that I do really like, some of which I have not mentioned yet, such as the nice brown under detailing compared to the stock gray that every other car has. Some different molding as well to fit this newer shape, even more different from Doc here. It was a 2010 release. I do really like this one, but that's all I have to say about him. Next, take a look at Fabulous Hudson Hornet. Now you can't expect with the release of this video, I believe will be this Tuesday. I did have another video planned for today, being my 3D printed Apple racer. Let's get Doc out of the package here. With this video, you should expect a channel update the same day, and ooh, that is nice. Look at that. Okay, first thing I noticed for sure is the paint. If you compare him to the 2010 Doc, just move the camera down a little bit. See that this blue paint is a lot richer, a little bit darker, but it has a really nice finish and sort of a two-tone look near the edges that looks super nice. The eyes are of course different, with this one having the lenticular eyes that are kind of weird, and this one having the Brewster from Chuggington eyes, which, I don't know about that. Wheels, I gotta say, are much better on this one. They are repaints and slightly bigger versions of these wheels. These do feature the accurate dirt track racer decals, which are very clean. Like Leroy, his hood does show twin horsepower, though it does not give a number. He does not feature a license plate, though he does have more manufacturer logos on the back. That is a Hudson Hornet decal made by Hudson. And on the bottom, that is very shiny, I'll say, compared to the dull matte brown there. That is a shiny silver. Unlike Leroy, the bottom does appear to be made of metal, some sort of die cast there. Looking at the front, compared to the 2010 dock, the details are exactly the same for the most part. Aside from that slightly darker blue and the more hood logos. I also say there are some differently colored hood ornaments here, whereas these are more Sharpie silver type colored. These are more dark matte gray maybe. Fabulous Hudson Hornet decals. I don't think that, oh wait, those might actually be 3D. I think those are slightly layered decals, unlike a Queen here. You can clearly tell that's flat. You can rub your finger all the way across it with not feeling any texture. Here, I believe there is a slight elevation shift here because I'm feeling some texture on these letters and the number as well. I think my only real gripe with this one is the eyes, where he just looks kind of Chuggington. Other than that, I think this one I like a lot better than Leroy, and he's a good upgrade over the original dock that I have. Scoop these back. Now we're on to the last diecast of the day, Lee Revkins. Now I've seen this one get a lot of gripe online for the purple not being super accurate to the movie. There's probably an image right there, but anyway. I definitely get what they're talking about. Just from memory, I remember him being a lot darker. And this is the same tooling as Darren Leadfoot, Hauling Gas, Ralph Carlo, etc. So I gotta point out that on the back here, you can definitely see the plastic that holds the wheels in place. Say the Cars 1 racer decals are kind of slacking, to be honest. If I could grab a Cars 3 race, let's get Chip back over here. You can read all of his sponsor decals very cleanly on this camera. Whereas if I hold Lee's up, it's a lot more inky / blotchy. It's harder to see. That does extend a little bit to the 63 Transberry Juice logos. The whole side does look a little mushy. I'm not really sure how to say it. The back, there's that same logo. On the side, another copy paste. On the hood, I don't think I've ever seen this logo in full, so it's nice to see that for once. Just show the juice coming out of what I think is a gas hose, kind of just flowing all over him, which is interesting. Oh, actually, hold on. If I could compare him to the package here, yeah, you can definitely see the difference in color. This one is a bit darker than this one. His eyes are a little bit too green here. Hard to see on camera, but if I put them up there, got a rich green. Right, then the artwork is more of a grayish green. And while I have this out here, let's scoot that over there. The yellow is kind of off. Here, the yellow, very striking, very crisp transitions on the spoiler and the sides. Whereas here, it kind of just fades from weird pink to yellow, which is somewhat accurate, though ink, again, is kind of splotchy, so it kind of dullens the sharpness of those transitions. And talking about the spoiler is almost gold for no reason that I could think of. It's on the package, that is a bright yellow. Spoiler, in my opinion, should be like this color. I think that matches pretty well compared to that. Not really sure why they picked that. Anyway, his undercarriage is the same as all the other cars of his tooling. Pretty simple detailing compared to the more complex Leroy there. I don't think they've ever changed this tooling aside from making the eyes a separate piece. Wheels do kind of jump out a little bit due to that same design as well. Look at that. Compare it to Leroy. I don't really like his wheel design, but his wheels do not budge. Overall, this one definitely could use some improvement, but it's good to have another Piston Cup racer from Cars 1, as I do love them. Out of these 3 diecasts, there's definitely some room for improvement. Looking at you, over there. I'd say my clear favorite is the Hudson Hornet, as the blue is just super clean. I don't really know how else to say, I just really like it. I'm a sucker for that dirt detailing as well, as it is accurate to the dirt tracks that they used to race on. Would have liked to see a little bit of that on Leroy now that I think about it. But anyway, Doc is definitely my favorite of this lot. Leroy and Lee are probably tied. Don't get me wrong, Lee has some problems, but Leroy is kind of just creamy guy. If you see these in store, I do recommend picking them up, particularly this one. Pick up this one's good. And if you're just a collector of the racers, then pick up these two as well, like I am. That's all for today. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.